to another exciting episode of Ghost Stories of Texas. I'm your host, Dark Lion. Sometimes, interacting with spirits isn't always the best. But as humans, we tend to have a soft spot, especially when it comes to children. This next encounter should have been avoided, but soft hearts will always prevail. During the time I was staying with my grandparents, I started to experience unusual occurrences. In the morning, my grandparents would leave to go run errands. When they would leave, I would go into the living room and go back to sleep on the couch. It was cooler in the living room, and my room was always hot. It started slowly at first, a brush on my back as I lay on the sofa. What the hell? I would say to myself, and brush it off as my imagination. As the days went on, it continued and intensified. It would run its hand down my back. Okay, I know I felt that, I tell myself. But when I'd open my eyes, nothing was there. And keep in mind, this is in the morning. Okay, whatever. I'd go back to sleep. Eventually, as often as it would happen, I just got used to it. And when it would happen, I'd wake up and say, "Oh, it's you." It was around this time that I felt someone small lay on my back. And I just went back to sleep. Anytime I would tell someone this, they wouldn't believe me. I mean, just typing this and reading it out sounds ridiculous. But I can assure you, this is true. My friend came by to visit me. She was laying on my bed watching TV when she stood straight up. I was on my couch and I looked at her. "What's up?" I asked. She looked at me, freaked out, and said, "I felt someone rub my back." "Oh yeah," I explained. "That's a little girl. She just wants to see if you're real. She's harmless," I told my friend. "I don't like that," she says. I just shrug it off. A few days later, my girlfriend came by to visit me. We were watching TV when I told her that I was going to go to the kitchen to get something to drink. If she wanted anything, she said no, and I went to the kitchen and poured some juice. When I came back, she was sitting straight up and looking at me weird. She asked, "Is your sister here?" At the time, my sister was 8 years old. I told her, "No, she's not. No one's here. It's just me and you." She turned pale white and started to tear up. "Are you sure your sister's not here?" she asked. You could hear the tremble in her voice. I assured her no one was in the house. I started walking around the house and opening all the doors and closets and returned. No one's here." "What's wrong? What happened?" I asked. She said that she was lying on my bed when the door opened slightly. She looked towards the door, and a little girl around 8 years old with long black hair peeked inside the room. My girlfriend sat up, smiled at her, and said, "Oh, hello." The little girl gave her an ugly look and closed the door. That was before I walked in. I called my mom and asked her where my sister was at. "She's right here. Why?" she asked. I asked her again, "Are you sure she's with you?" And my mom tells me, "Yes, she's right here. Why?" I told her what had happened, and she just shrugged it off. It was after this that I realized that maybe this little girl isn't good, and maybe I'd have to bless the house to make her leave. Eventually, I moved out, but I have heard of one more incident involving her so far. My grandmother called me one day telling me that I left my little friend there. Dumbfounded, I asked, "What are you talking about?" She began to tell me that her and my grandfather had been arguing about whatever old people argue about when they retire. And afterwards, she went into the kitchen and started washing dishes. She turned around and saw a little girl tiptoeing into the hallway towards the bedrooms. She gasped and freaked out. She told my grandfather, and he said it was because she was arguing with him. I asked her to describe the little girl. What was she wearing? She said she was wearing a dress and had her hair down, but that she was more surprised than afraid. If there's any more sightings of her, I'll keep you posted and I'll update it.